So right here on my left, I have my rigid shop vac that I've used for quite a while in, just around the home and also with my woodworking projects. So it served me well. I've had it for a long time, and there was a time that I was actually thinking about getting rid of it, but it has found basically a permanent home in my shop. It wasn't until I picked up the Festool Domino that I learned about the actual Festool dust extractors. When I first picked up the Festool Domino, I did try to connect it to my rigid shop vac, but I was pretty unsuccessful. Basically, this unique dust port, made it difficult to find something that would actually fit. I think at one point in time I even tried to 3D print something that would actually connect here, but it just didn't work out. So that was when I decided to go ahead and look into getting the Festool dust extractor. Now this right here is not my first domino. This is actually my second Festool DF500. I originally purchased the Festool DF500, and I also purchased the Festool 48 CT48 dust extractor. And when I purchased it, I actually it was a big purchase for me, and it was the first time that I really started trying to be serious, I guess, about this woodworking thing. And it actually sat in the garage for like a week, and I didn't really do anything with it because I had some other things, just life, working on cars and taking care of business, kind of got in the way of me being able to utilize these tools. And, obviously, I had to convince the wife to actually be able to get those tools, and I got a little bit antsy. I actually did purchase the Festool CT48 and my original domino on Amazon. And so I had a 30-day return window. Being that I hadn't touched the tools for like a week, I actually did send them back. Well, probably about, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year later, I went ahead, I realized that I really did want to have the Festool Domino. And by that time I learned that I did need to have the dust extraction, and what better to have, rather than trying to fit this with some other brand, I might as well get the brand that it actually was made for. So I purchased my second Festool Domino, and then I went into my local woodcraft and I purchased the CT48. And when I went in, I just basically said, hey, I want to get the CT48, and the gentleman came out with this. Now, I guess it's a fortuitous situation, because I think the CT48 was probably around $8.99 or something like that. It was a pretty expensive vacuum, but it was not the auto clean version. As a matter of fact, when I purchased the original CT48, there was no auto clean version of the the CT48. But when I went back, that's 6 months to a year later, and I purchased the second domino, when I went to get the CT48, the gentleman brought this out. And this is, I didn't even look at it closely. I just basically dropped the cash. I did notice that the price was a little bit higher, being that this was like $999. And got it home, and then I realized that it actually had the auto clean feature. So anyways, my initial plan, being that I spent so much money on this particular vacuum, was to actually get rid of my rigid shop vac. However, after spending that amount of cash on this particular vacuum, I wanted to make it dedicated for woodworking, and had no intentions of sucking up any kind of fluid or anything. So I kept my the trusty old rigid around in the shop. So anyways, a little bit about this vacuum. It is the CT48, so it is, I believe that's 12.7 gallons for Imperial. It's a high performance HEPA filter system, self-cleaning filter bag. It also has a disposable bag. This one, it comes with the smaller hose. I believe it's the 27. Yes, it's the 27 millimeter port hose. But you can fit it with the 36 for an additional cost. It does have the SysDock functionality. As you can see, I have the, I can't remember the technical term or label for this particular cyclone, but it's a Festool branded cyclone that I use with it. The power consumption is a 1200 watt device. The max CFM is 137. and the max vacuum is 96 inches on static water lift. So the filter surface area is 979. It's got a 25-foot power cable, and the dimensions of the device are just without the actual CT vacuum up on the top, or the cyclone on the top, is 29 inches by 16 inches by 39.5 inches. It weighs at just over 43 pounds, or 19.6 kilograms. And as far as features are concerned, right here on the front, you've actually got an AC plug area here. And this is for plugging in like your domino, plugging in if you have a corded track saw or any or corded router. When you turn on the tool, this device itself will turn on and actually start sucking. And once you turn the tool off, it will actually turn off a few seconds or so after you finish whatever task that you're doing. Another feature here, or well, upgrade that I have right here, I just push the button. This here is the actual Bluetooth adapter, which was an additional cost. I went ahead and purchased that, and the Bluetooth adapter comes with this button here, which you can activate the vacuum wirelessly with this particular device. The vacuum did come with a couple of these attachments. It had this one, and it had like a regular, kind of like the Square's vacuum tool, which I don't know where it is right now, but so it came with those. I don't believe it came with any brush tools. It may have, but I haven't seen it if it did in a long time. Now, you also have here on the front of the device, you've got multiple settings. So you've got AC only, so you can actually turn this vacuum on at the control panel and just have it running manually, or you can have it in the automatic mode where it will actually turn on when you activate a connected tool. So this here is the auto clean feature, and that you heard here. And with the auto clean feature, what it does is allow for it's a knocking on where the filter is, so that the dust, the fine particles, actually fall off of the filter. That gives you the ability to prolong the life of the filter. It's especially effective for something like drywall dust that can actually go through the bag and basically start to cause your filter to diminish in performance. So the auto clean feature gives you just an added protection. It actually keeps your filter clean longer and prolongs the life of your vacuum. So that's what the auto clean is for, and that is what the additional cost is for when you see the auto clean versus the CT48. So you have the ability to actually turn the auto clean to manual and just turn it on, and it'll automatically knock all the time or every so often. Or you could turn it to auto. When you turn the vacuum to auto, you'll notice that the blue light comes on here. That indicates that it can be operated through the Bluetooth feature. So if you operate any tool with a Bluetooth battery, or if you have a tool plugged in, it will actually operate here. And yeah, so that's that control right here is actually the for max or lower suction. And then you have two settings on the auto clean. You have a 0 and a 1. And that's pretty much everything as far as the control panel there. Festool actually carries a Bluetooth battery. These work on their drills, they work on the track saw, and any of their tools that accept the 18-volt battery, with the exception of their their sanders, which actually use a different form of battery. This is Bluetooth enabled, and as a result, what you would do is you would actually push this green button here, and it will light up, and then when you put this on a tool and you pull the trigger, it will automatically sync up. So even using a drill, you can actually activate this tool. It works with the track saw, obviously. So the technology for the Bluetooth is actually built into the battery with Festool, and it's also, you know, you have the module here. Now, the reason why I got the biggest vacuum was because I was supposed to be replacing the rigid, or else I probably could have got away with a smaller system. Now, the bags for this particular system are not cheap. They're not overly expensive, but whenever you're buying Festool, you're actually paying for a premium brand, so things can be a little bit pricey. They do make a long life bag that could actually be emptied, but I want to say that that bag alone is probably close to $300. It's like $275 or something like that. I opted not to go for that. I instead decided to decrease the amount of bags that I had to buy by purchasing this actual cyclone here. Which basically obviously is a separator, so most of the dust is going to go in here prior to actually going into the bag, and that's going to give me longer life on my bags and also a longer life on the filter. Getting back to the panel here, you actually can adjust the suction on this particular vacuum. That is something that is not available on the rigid. The rigid is just turn it on, turn it off. This particular vacuum, you can turn the power up and down. Here, there's a dial for that. And then you also have the ability, as I said, to turn it to where you could actually make this only manual turn off and on, or also to activate it through Bluetooth. My impressions of the device, I've been using it now, I want to say probably about a year. This sometimes can be a little bit unwieldy having this cyclone on the top, but I wouldn't trade it simply because it's going to save me on bags, which is going to save me a little bit of money. Maybe I can get a little bit of money back from how much I spent on this device by itself. It's super convenient as far as, like, you know, getting the dust from the tool. It's very helpful. The other thing that I would say that I like about, let's talk about the hose. This here is the hose. It's actually covered in kind of like an anti-static, anti-snag type of fabric, if you will. It is it's a nice hose. It's a nice premium hose, in my opinion. It's not the longest hose, but you can actually upgrade and get a longer hose, which they're not cheap, but the hose does obviously come with the device. So, the hose, the actual braiding on the outside makes it to where when you're using it, like say with the track saw, it kind of just runs along things and it resists snagging, also being anti-static. So nice quality hose, and at the tip of the hose you actually have, well, this one doesn't have the interlocking connection, but some of them actually, you can actually replace this nozzle and put an interlocking head, which will actually lock into your tools. You can also, if you buy the larger version of this hose, you can get a reducer, because the larger one will not fit on tools like the actual Festool Domino, which has a smaller port. So if you was going to use this device with the, say, the Capex, which I don't own. So if you were going to use this a device like the OF2200 router, which gives off a whole bunch of chips, the way that their system is designed, on the outside it's got these little ridges, and if you were using the bigger hose, it would go over this area and give you more, it gives you more volume. But with the smaller hose, the 27mm hose, it actually fits into the device, right? So it's nice the way that they thought all these things out so that all their tools kind of work together. Pretty much all the routers actually accept both hoses in one way or the other. It's just the Dominoes that basically you're required to have this smaller opening, because it fits over the actual connector and not inside. So if you do have the larger hose with your vacuum, or if you decided you wanted to buy the larger hose, you would need to get that adapter that would reduce it from the 32mm, I think it is, down to the 27. So anyway, I just wanted to share a little bit about this Festool vacuum that I purchased, and you know why I purchased it. Am I happy with it? I am. It's very convenient, but I have to be honest. Whenever you buy Festool tools, it's enticing to want to buy other tools that go with it, because you know, like they say, it is a system. Once I purchased this, and after using it and having my hose laying across the table, it makes you look at getting the boom arm, which they do make a boom arm for this device, and they make it for the smaller vacuums as well. And what the boom arm does is it keeps the hose up and out of the way, so that it's kind of dangling over top of the work, so you don't have to worry about it laying across your workspace. Anyways, maybe that'll be a future purchase, maybe not, but anyways, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about this this dust extractor. It is very pricey, but for myself personally, with the tools and integrated in the Festool system, it is very handy and useful. I don't have any of the sanders yet, but I'm anxious to see what that combination and how that actually works together. You know, I hear a lot about the dust extraction with sanding with the Festool, and I have not experienced it yet, but you know, maybe in the future. Anyways, guys, thanks for taking time to see the video, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.
Okay.